Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today I get to sit with you mamas and talk all things Primer with Pooh from a year of learning. Now I've gotten some questions, I've gotten some emails and messages about this curriculum, how I'm using it, how I'm printing everything, and how do I work with my preschooler with it. And so today I'm going to spend some time and really kind of share with you guys my process and my tips on using Primer with Pooh. So if you'd like to hear more, then let's get started. Hey you, did you hit that play button for the very first time? Well, welcome to the channel. I'm Tasha. This is Tasha Pivots, where we talk about all things mamahood and homeschool and how I'm pivoting through this journey. All right guys, Primer with Pooh. Now, first and foremost, I have an entire playlist dedicated to a year of learning. Me and Lisa, I like to say we're like this now because we've had a face-to-face conversation. We did a wonderful live over on her Facebook community page for a year of learning. If you are new to the year of learning family, you might want to go check out that community page. I'll try to find a link and link it below. You have to join or request to join, and then they will accept you based on the terms and things that you fill out. And I love it. It's a beautiful community. It's rich. A lot of questions are getting answered there. A lot of resources are given. Lisa takes abundance of time to really sit there and add more and more into this to really encourage and uplift our mamas who are entering in this homeschooling journey, are entering into a Charlotte Mason style of learning. And so if you're looking for that, I can't wait. Please go ahead and check that out. And then, like I said, I have a playlist that's dedicated to our flip-throughs, reviews of a year of Tales when we did it with Beatrix Potter, and a year of 100 Acre Woods. And so if you would, or 100 Acre Wood, I always add an S. There's no S. Anyway, you can check that out. Now, Primer with Pooh is like this extension. It's for the preschooler. It's an introduction, and I love it because it came at the perfect time for my 3.5-year-old as we were wondering, what are we going to do for preschool? Like, yes, we've been working on alphabet. Yes, we've been working on colors and counting to 10. But now she's wanting to pick up a pencil. She's wanting to kind of have her own thing. And so I really enjoyed seeing her progress and blossom over her year of, I would say, 2 to 3. And so that's why she's entered in preschool now, and where we are starting and just seeing where she's at. She may do 2 years of preschool. It just depends on how she flows and how she grows through her homeschooling journey, right? And so this has been really fun. When Primer with Pooh came out, I printed, I was ready to go. And when I say printed, hold your horses, because I didn't print the whole thing. Now, I learned back on my second year of using a year of learning that I didn't want to overwhelm myself with trying to print all the things. Now, there is a lot of paper. There is a lot of content. And it is, if you change your perspective, it's a gift. Okay? It's not like, oh God, I would love to do this, but I mean, all the printing. Look at it more like this woman who is a mama of 9 sat up here and created a beautiful, her and her team created a beautiful curriculum that has layers, that is rich, that supplies you with what you need and is designated around some rich literature, okay? So that's how I look at it, and I also allow myself to take the pressure or expectation that I need to have all the things, it all needs to be in color, it all needs to be bound and pretty and ready to go. No. That's not necessary. I chose for my family that I would only print the first 5 weeks or the first 10 weeks, depending on what you want to do. Now, my family does a year-round learning, and so with that, we are in school from July till May, and you know, and so it worked for us that way. And so what I did is for Josephine, for this Primer with Pooh, I printed the first 9 weeks, okay? I was like, all right, first 9 weeks, I'm feeling okay, but I'm not sure how this is gonna go. And of course, as you guys have watched my content, you know I kind of took a dip dive in health and I just barely made it through, okay? Excuse me. So, the first thing I have here is the Primer with Pooh Year of Overview. I love this page because it gives me, every single week, it tells me the read aloud that we're reading, the character, the poetry, the nature investigation, and the letter we're gonna work on. Now, if you're like a planner like me, then you like to have these. You love an overview because it's not all the thickness, it doesn't have all the density, it's simple. It's easy. You can see where you're at. You can put it down in your planner. And then you can always revert back and you can now dip into, well, this is what we want to focus on for the week, or this is what we want to focus on for the day, okay? Because they do give you both, which is a gift. They don't have to. They could just give you the basic and you just don't have to go through all the reading, okay? But if you need something simple to remind you where we're at, if you're a person that likes to check off your list, this will be wonderful. Print this, have it ready to go. But everything else, I would encourage you, depending on your preference. Some people like to have everything virtual in their computer. I want to be able to open it up, open up my file, and it's there. If that's you, do you, boo. Or if you like to do more like I love to have papers, even though my husband would say different. I like to see it. I like it to be tangible. It's like how I feel about books. I'm not a huge listener. I want to read it. I want to smell the book. I want to see it, right? So I like to have everything printed that I need to. Even with the parent pages, I did not print the entire 20 weeks, okay? Now, I'm going to show you guys. Here is my lovely folder for Josephine. I've already took some things out, but there's papers on this side, and there's papers on this side. And I thought, you know what? I have two folders, actually. One's mine, one's hers. And in this one, she can put completed pages. And then we've got the new week, and I have them ready to go. I've also seen, and I haven't done it yet because I'm just coming out, y'all. I'm just coming out of my rhythm, and I'm starting to get back into things. I love the idea of taking a box or a file box and doing file folders with labels that say each week, okay? I will try to see if I can find a picture to show you guys because I don't have one ready yet. But I love that idea. Because if you need something to be designated for the weeks that you're working on or going to be working on for the next couple of weeks, and you rather be able to pull that folder out, open it up and say, this is what we're doing, you can do that. Or you can still bind everything. Note here that I love binding. They look beautiful. It's clean. You get to just flip it through. But with Josephine, my daughter will get overwhelmed. So I learned quickly, I don't really want to print her a whole book and bind it, because if I do, she's going to start going through everything. And she'll color one page, and I'll be trying to overview my other child, and she didn't go on to the next page, and we didn't even talk about it yet. So with that, I prefer to give her one page at a time. And that's why I decided to print. So first, you don't need to print all the things, okay? First tip, you don't need to print all the things. Second, you can print at your leisure. Print what you need. Print what is happening at that moment. If you're like, I'm down to my last 30 sheets of paper, I don't feel like going to the store to buy another pack of paper, then just use what you have. All you have is all you need, and when you have time, go back, okay? Thirdly, if your child is more like mine, where if you give them a book, they're going to do the whole book in one setting, and you're not even going to realize it, then do one sheet at a time. Another thing is, as you saw, I've named off all the areas and categories. Now, the only one missing here is Bible. I choose to do Bible with my family. I love the character and the Bible memory verses, so we always do that. But there's a nature investigations part. Now, I decided to opt out of the nature investigations. Now, I know you're like, well, I paid for it, and da-da. You can always go back to it. You can always reference it. It could always be a summer study. Whatever you want to do, you pay for it. You'll utilize it when you need it, okay? What I love is that I opted out because we're doing simple studies, seashore animals, which I have a video of that. You can check that out if you want. And Josephine's a part of that because that's really me reading and she's coloring. And we get to explore. They get to go look through all the books. We're talking about all the animals in the sea. And sea life and all the things. So that's what we're doing for that. So this section doesn't pertain to me. Because it doesn't pertain to me, I don't print it. Okay? So I have everything out. I have my overview. I'll show you guys what I do in a week now. Say this is week 1, I believe. No, this is week 8. So I'm going to show you week 8 real quick. This was last week's. You've got the letter B, and then you've got your tracing exercise of the letter B. And I have these because, again, I keep things loose. I still put the date. I still put her name. And when it's completed, I then put it in this folder. Now, I think what's really great with that file system I was talking about, if you could do each week, then when it's done, you stick it right back in that week, whatever week that is, and you stick it back into your bin. And then each one has whatever's been completed, and then when you're finished, you can always compile all her stuff and then, or his stuff, and bind it, because now it's finished, right? And you can always reference it if you need to do record keeping, or you just need to have it in case whatever you need to show proof that you are teaching your child. That is a way to do it, okay? So it's Monday. Our school week is Monday through Thursday. Friday's a catch-all, depending on what's going on. Now, I will be honest, from July and August, our school weeks looked real funky. We were doing school sometimes on the weekend. Whatever I felt better or felt enough energy to even sit long enough to do a full study or a full day of school, it was very far and in between, okay? And that worked for me. That's why I said the first 9 weeks, because we've already been in school past 9 weeks. But for me, this is what had to be in order for me to get through each week, okay? So what we did is the letter B, and I start with, again, let's go back, Monday. Monday, I love to do a review. I like to recap. Let's talk about what was the letter we learned last week. What was the character word that we learned last week? What does that character word mean to us? And have them tell you, have them talk to you. This is review. It's like assessment every week, pretty much. So you know where they're at. You know what you need to review. I also did, and I do it with my oldest too. She kind of participates in the character and Bible time. So even if my youngest is like, I don't know the memory verse, but I want to read it, so we'll read it to her, and she reads it back out loud to us. And so that's been really great for her, to just doing some memory and reciting things and copying and listening. And so we'll do that, okay? Now, we may do that, and then we'll move on to preschool math. Josephine does school basically from 9:30 to noon. That is the time block of school. Now, for you, that may be too long, but for mine, because she's already been in the rhythm and routine of our home, it works for her. It allows her to have space to take her time. So this may take her 30 minutes to color. Now, me and you would have been like 5 minutes, but for her, it's 30 minutes. So I allow that space. So I'm not feeling rushed. I'm not feeling cramped. I've got her working on something when I'm working with my oldest, and vice versa. And we'll talk about more of that, of how I teach them both, because I know that's been a question as well on another video. So she'll get the letter B. I'll say, you know what, this week we're working on the letter B. Now, we may do this Monday, or we may do this on Tuesday. And while she's coloring this, I then am reading the story, okay? Now, with the story, these stories are a lot longer. So if you haven't looked at it yet, this is the one I have. This is the complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh. And I bought this at Barnes & Noble for $25. It has all of the stories you need for the full 20 weeks. Now, if you're doing a year in 100 Acre Woods, there is a second book for the other 20 weeks, or the other 10 weeks. But this is it, okay? So I will read it. I will maybe read half the story. Now, so you know what? We're going to pause, and we're going to read this again on Thursday or Wednesday, depending on what the schedule looks like. And we'll finish up, and I'll even do a recap. Do you remember what happened with Pooh? Did you remember what happened to Piglet? Do you remember what Rabbit said? You know, things like that, just to kind of keep her memory fresh. So we'll do that while she's coloring. So she's listening while she's coloring. Now, she'll finish this up, and then we'll go into practicing tracing, writing. Now, I'll either start with this right after, or I'll leave it for just the letter B, because then she may be ready to do something else. Like, I may have her do pick up colored blocks that are the same, that start with the letter B. So if it's brown, or it's blue, or it's black, and I say, can you take the blocks now and follow them along the B? So that's how I'm teaching it with her, okay? Then we go on to, now it's Tuesday, and we are ready for tracing. So as you guys can see, I added these dotted lines. They were not there. How it's made is it's just the B, and then that's it. You can then guide them. I like to add this in because I noticed with her, she's still 3.5. I'm not expecting her, she can recognize the letter. She has recognition, but to really know how to use the pencil and know, okay, I'm supposed to stop here and I'm supposed to start here. Not necessarily. Maybe your 4-year-old or 4.5-year-old may be ready to do that. So with mine, I allow her, she still wants to. Now, don't get her wrong. She's like, let me trace it. So I created dots for her to trace, and that's how we practice her B's, okay? So she has these two. Then we've talked about our character. We keep talking about it during the week. We will then maybe do 1 or 2 of the activities per week, okay? I don't try to do every activity every single day. I don't have the supplies. I don't have the bandwidth. And I'm being honest with you guys. hot, open, and transparent. I don't have the bandwidth to do those exercises every single day. And I learned that when I started with Zoe in Year of Learning. I think they're beautiful and they're fun and they're really good to look back on days when it's like the weekend and maybe we didn't do any activity during the week because we had so much other stuff going on that maybe on the weekend we'll do it. And then we'll do it all as a family and it's fun. So there's always suggestion and movement. Your curriculum is fluid. And that should go across the board, honestly. But with Year of Pooh, and Year of Primer Pooh, I would say it's supposed to be fluid. It's not supposed to make you feel like I'm locked down and I have to do A, B, C, and D because if I don't, my child's not going to be successful. Heck no. This is why our kids aren't in public school and we've decided to homeschool them because we're not bound to a box. We're not bound to a framework that we have to fit in. And if we even poke our head out, now we've done something wrong. Your kid is still going to learn. Your kid is still gonna enjoy the process that you're having, and it just has to work with whatever works for your family, okay? I think this is pretty much it that I can share and show you guys. Again, like I said, I bought these folders, but I think I am gonna do the bin system, and I may be on Instagram if you haven't followed me yet. It's at Ashatal, which is my name backwards. It's AHSATAL. You can find me over there, and I may do, when this video comes out that day, I will go ahead and do a video of how I transferred from being in a folder to now having a system of weeks with tabs and everything. So you might want to check that out. If you have any other questions, if I didn't answer everything when it comes to this, go ahead and link your comments down below in the comment section, and I will try to get back to them within a day or two and see where I can answer those, or even I'll maybe do a part 2 to this video and I'll share some answers I'll answer some of those questions there. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending the time asking me and even listening. I hope it's been helpful. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Give this video a warm thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.